playing shuttlecock is very good because it spends a lot of energy in that. Table tennis also, although the table looks to be small and all, but you know you have to spend a lot of energy. Basketball, any game, football, or simply brisk walking can help you to reduce the LDL and increase the HDL. Reduce the LDL and increase the HDL. So these are, but it should be regular. It should be regular. So both your diet and exercise, physical exercise is important. Sedentary habits are not good. Sedentary habits are not good. Okay, so we talked about high LDL cholesterol, low HDL, high fat cholesterol diet should be avoided. The saturated fat should be less. Now you know coconut oil and ghee. These two are somewhat mysterious things. Both of them contain high saturated fat. Both of them contain saturated fatty acids, but you know they are short or medium chain. They are short or medium chain fatty acids, whereas the non-vegetarian fat and dalda, they are saturated and also they are long chain fatty acids. So during the digestion process, the short chain and medium chain fatty acid containing triglycerides, they do not need bile salts and they are relatively water soluble. So a major share of the digestion can take place in the stomach. Gastric lipase can do the function. And so as they are more water soluble, they can be directly absorbed without the help of bile salt and also without the formation of chylomicrons. Right, so it is not that bad. So in general you cannot say all the saturated fat is bad. But the short chain and medium chain fatty acid, which you see in coconut oil and ghee and butter and milk, is not that dangerous. Although about 30 or 40 years back, it was thought that these two should not be taken. These two, ghee and not good. But in reasonably limited amounts, these are also okay. It does not affect your LDL or HDL. It may not reduce the LDL and increase the HDL, but you know it will not increase the LDL at least. So if for those who are lacking this, in limit one can have, right? So high fat. Then of course lipoprotein small a. Now lipoprotein small a which is found to be more in our population in compared to Western population. It is found to be more, and it is I think one of you answered last time. Lipoprotein A is a analog of the tissue plasminogen. So tissue plasminogen cannot be converted to plasmin. It's a competitive inhibitor. So plasmin is not formed, and so the fibrinolysis will not take place. After the clotting of blood clotting, then the clot has to be dissolved. So that is not taking place if there is increased amount of lipoprotein A. So as we have a higher level of lipoprotein small a, it is not ApoA. It is not ApoA. It is another LDL type of lipoprotein. So a high level of, you cannot modify it. It's difficult to modify because it is a genetic lipoprotein small a. So if already somebody is having near upper limit of normal, then if lipoprotein small a is also high, then it carries a risk. You have heard that some people at the age of 35 or even below that or around 40, they are suffering from cardiovascular diseases, and they have experienced an attack, AMI. So this is possible, maybe because of lipoprotein A in excess. So this also can be estimated now. You can estimate lipoprotein small a also. So it's a risk factor. Atherogenic. It is atherogenic. Atherogenic means it promotes atherosclerosis. Diabetes mellitus. Diabetes mellitus is a risk factor because there is insulin resistance happening, and so the glycolysis is not proper. Glycolysis is not proper. So you know that the next will be gluconeogenesis. Gluconeogenesis will be sort of activated. Already the blood glucose level is high. Still, more glucose is pouring due to gluconeogenesis. So the oxaloacetic acid, which you have studied, oxaloacetic acid will be in short supply. So the fat is being utilized in diabetes mellitus. You know that fat is being utilized. So adipose tissue fat is lipolyzed with the influence of glucagon and less of insulin. So there is increased lipolysis. Lipolysis leads to more free fatty acids. Free fatty acids are increased in the plasma. These free fatty acids could be taken up by various tissues and could be beta oxidized, and the end product, you know, it is acetyl coenzyme A. Now the normal route of acetyl coenzyme A should be going to the TCA cycle by combining with the oxaloacetic acid. But oxaloacetic acid, as is in short supply, normally, you know, oxaloacetic acid is formed from glucose to pyruvate, then pyruvate carboxylase, you know that, pyruvate to oxaloacetic. But this pyruvate itself is not being formed. So oxaloacetic acid is not there. So acetyl-CoA cannot enter the TCA cycle. So then, you know, this acetyl-CoA can take this route. Another route is, you know, ketogenesis. You also know that in diabetic ketoacidosis, which is more common in type 1, there will be more of ketoacidosis. But in type 2, you know, this pathway may be preferred. So you get large amounts of cholesterol. So there is a chance that there is hypercholesterolemia. So cholesterol level may be anywhere more than 250 milligrams, and LDL could be high and HDL could be low. High total cholesterol, LDL increased, HDL low. So all these factors are contributing as risk factors for cardiovascular diseases. So diabetes carries a lot of risk to develop cardiovascular diseases. There is also a metabolic syndrome. Something related to diabetes mellitus is metabolic syndrome. So metabolic syndrome is what? It is seen in sort of you know, younger population due to sedentary habits and high intake of high energy foods. Now high energy foods are available these days. A lot of fat, butter. So energy level, instead of, you know, our ordinary diet, many more things are available. High energy, pizza and burger and puff, so many things. So they are all very high energy, you know. So already if you have some of these problems and if you take this, then the risk factor increases. Risk will be increased. So all of you friends sometimes go to some hotel, and some of you may have more eating habits. And some others, no, I won't take much, I don't want. So what will happen, the friends who want to take more, they will get a major share. I will finish this, so they will get more share. So that is also not advisable. That's also not advisable. It may not happen, but sometimes it may happen. In families also. Families. Also it may happen. So, before, everyone wants the babies to be chubby, to put on more weight and eat more. But nowadays, the trend has changed. Too much of fatty is not good. Right? For health time. For health purpose, nothing else. So, diabetes mellitus, metabolic syndrome. Yeah, metabolic syndrome is a disease. Is a disease in which it is more seen in the younger population, where the blood glucose level is more than 100. Fasting blood glucose level. If the fasting blood glucose level is more than 100, and if the TG levels more than 150, fasting glucose level more than 100, FPS, triglycerides more than 150, and if the waist circumference is more than 80 centimeters or more than 90 centimeters in females/males, waistline obesity. Plus there is an insulin resistance, hypertension. If the BP is more than 140 millimeters of Hg, then it is known as metabolic syndrome. So nowadays the young people also has developed this. It is known as metabolic syndrome, and this may be considered to be a pre-diabetic state. It may be considered to be a pre-diabetic state. So one should try to reduce all these. It can be controlled. It can be controlled by sticking to a proper diet and proper exercise pattern. It can be, most probably it can be controlled, but there may be cases which cannot be controlled also, but we should try. And your food intake. So metabolic syndrome is a syndrome, cardiometabolic syndrome. It's also known as cardiometabolic syndrome or syndrome X. So that is one. So because it is a pre-diabetic state, which may develop into diabetes. Hypertension, physical inactivity, that inactivity, sedentary. Because of this, if it is a 3-story building or 3-4 story, people use lift, especially youngsters, which I think is not good. One should climb up. If you are not getting tired, of course, but I have seen a tendency to, if it is available, why not use? Yeah, so climbing the stairs is very good. Swimming. So all these modern gadgets have added to the inactivity. Lifestyle changes are to be required. Obesity. Obesity also causes insulin resistance. Obesity can cause insulin resistance because the insulin receptors can be less. So type 2 diabetes can be developed, and especially in males there are higher chances. High triglycerides, because it may again cause insulin resistance. High homocysteine. Homocysteine is also a atherogenic factor. Homocysteine, it is converted to methionine. If enough B12 is not there, then there will be methyl folate trap. So what is happening? Homocysteine cannot be converted to methionine, the essential amino acid. So homocysteine excess will be there, and it may cause immaturation of collagen. So the capillary walls get immature collagen, and so there is exposure of the capillary wall, which may attract platelets, and it may form a thrombus. So high homocysteine level also may be a factor, risk factor. Stress, increase high sensitive C-reactive protein. This also, this could be a factor causing heart troubles, or it may be an after effect of that also. It may be both ways. Then there is stress. Stress also can lead to a lot of complications. Stress has to be there. Positive stress is always good, and but it should not overcome. For that, all meditation and yoga and all this prayer, simple prayer, all can help to reduce your stress level. Stress level can increase the catecholamines, and then it may produce diabetes mellitus and so many things. So stress has to be controlled. Family history of cardiovascular diseases. So care should be taken to regulate your lipid profile, BP and all these things, diabetes mellitus. Secondary hyper, now there is primary hyperlipoproteinemia. Fredrickson's classification. Type 1 hyperlipoproteinemia, type 2, type 3, type 4, type 5. There are 5 types. Type 1 hyperlipoproteinemia. Anybody can say what is type 1 hyperlipoproteinemia? It is due to a deficiency of lipoprotein lipase. Type 1 is due to a deficiency of lipoprotein lipase. If lipoprotein lipase is deficient, so what will happen? The chylomicrons cannot be lipolyzed, or VLDL cannot be converted to other lower density ones. So chylomicrons actually accumulate, and the plasma is always turbid. In patients with type 1 hyperlipoproteinemia, the plasma is always turbid, not transparent. What is the reason? The reason is chylomicrons are increased. So it may not be that harmful, but to these patients, if you give short and medium chain fatty acids, so which does not need the formation of chylomicron, it might be helpful. But it is not very dangerous. But type 2 hyperlipoproteinemia, type 2, that is due to the deficiency of LDL receptors. Type 2 is due to the deficiency of LDL receptors. What is the function of LDL receptor? To uptake the LDL. So if LDL receptors are deficient or it is low in number, the uptake also will be affected. So more LDL in the plasma, so which can form the atherosclerotic plaque, right? So that and in diabetes again, one point which I forgot to tell you, that the LDL is modified. It is modified LDL. What is modified LDL? Modified LDL, glycosylated or oxidized. So this is again a further problem, because then the uptake by the macrophages, unregulated uptake will be there. Clathrin coated LDL receptors, it is more regulated. You can regulate it. If you don't need LDL, these LDL receptors can be down regulated. But in macrophages nothing can be done. It will be a continuous inflow of LDL, which may cause atherosclerotic plaque in arteries. So diabetes is again contributing. Secondary, type 2 familial, there are two types, familial type and secondary. Familial means genetic, type 1, type 2 I told. Now type 2 in which the LDL receptors are either deficient or only 50% present. 50% present. So such patients in whom there is no LDL receptors at all, they will die very fast, maybe within the first decade of life due to high atherosclerosis. So type 2 in which both cholesterol and triglycerides are increased. That is the most dangerous, type 2. Then type 3, type 4, type 5 are also there, which I will not go into the details. Then you have nephrotic syndrome. Nephrotic syndrome, this mainly albumin is lost in the urine. Nephrotic syndrome. Globulins are not lost because globulins are high molecular weight. So globulins cannot be easily lost in the urine. Albumin is lost. So most of the globulins carry lipids. Most of the globulins, they also carry lipids. So there will be an increase of lipoproteins, lipids in that. So nephrotic syndrome, hypothyroidism. Hypothyroidism in which the cholesterol uptake is also reduced into the cell. So there will be high cholesterol level in the hypothyroid patients. In hyperthyroid patients, the cholesterol level will be low, whereas in hypothyroid patients, cholesterol level will be high. Again, risk factor, hypothyroidism. Biliary obstruction. If there is a biliary obstruction, then also lipids will be increased. Bile salts cannot be, reaching. So all these are secondary hyperlipidemia. So in short, these are the risk factors and how can we regulate that. And now it is told that, so in short what, you have to keep all these lipid profile in check and your lifestyle changes have to be applied, food intake, your level of exercise, all are important. And try to, if one is diabetic, then try to regulate the blood glucose level. Regulate by taking proper medicines and diet. So we can control this. And so this is what the risk factors and how can we take it. And if the cholesterol level is still not reduced, then the statin drugs can be taken, which will inhibit the HMG-CoA reductase. So that can be the last resort. If you are able to regulate cholesterol level by proper diet and proper exercise, that is well and good. If that is not possible, then you have to take some drugs. Triglyceride lowering drugs are also there. Cholesterol lowering drugs are also there. So okay, this is